Welcome to another episode of Raw Living Radio. Today we are joined for part 3 of our 3-part series with Dr. Robert Cassar, and joining me is my co-hostess, Clementine Libre. It was a lively discussion, but unfortunately I goofed and I didn't unhold the guests, the 3 of us, before starting the interview. And thankfully, some fairies called and said, hey, there's just music playing, so about 20 or so minutes are missing. The good news is Dr. Cassar was on step 6 of his 27-point terrain modification protocol, and thankfully you can go to rawlivingradio.com and listen to parts 1 and 2, and you'll get all caught up on those 6 steps. And we'll pick up with step 7 with Dr. Cassar. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you, and enjoy.
Number 7's parasites. And the reason being why we're talking about all of this stuff is because the parasites, in my opinion, is cancer a parasite? Could it be? Wow, that's a very heavy question. Okay, so number 7 is parasites. And that's the reason why we're manipulating all of these different departments so these little creatures cannot go ahead and actually edge their way in. It's like a couple of gang members that want to come into school, and you don't want them to get in. Okay, because they got guns and they're just going to start, passing, whatever bad stuff to all the rest of the functional kids, and you've got a couple of dysfunctional kids. Not saying it's just a bad parable, but it's what it is. You're trying to keep everybody eliminated and not, dysfunctionize them. So number 8 is acids and corrosion versus acids, corrosive versus acids and non-corrosive, because those all have. That's why we don't have any acetic acid, hydrochloric acid, or sulfuric acids in our diets. And you'd be surprised what that's in. It's in a lot of the hot sauces. That's why make your own hot sauce. I've done a few videos. Make your own. Super cheap, and it's way better than buying. I won't say the names of them, but these ones here they're all let's say one, like Dijon mustard. We're not saying the name of it, but all Dijon mustards and all these, we'll just say Tabasco in general. Okay, they all use white vinegar. And what is white vinegar? Acetic acid. Red wine vinegar, acetic acid. Use raw apple cider vinegar. That's malic acid. It is a detoxificational acid versus the other one is a corrosive acid. So number 9 is EMFs and ELFs, electrical magnetic fields and extremely low magnetic fields. That's a whole segment in itself, but let's go to number 10, oxygen. You are an oxygen-breathing being. It behooves you to live sometimes in the city if you're in the afternoon in Los Angeles, in rush hour. What percentage of oxygen? If the normal oxygen in the city is about 20%, how much do you think it dips down to at about 5 in the evening when everybody's trying to get home and they're in their little car that's kicking out poisonous nickel out of the gasoline and diesel? What percentage do you think the oxygen goes down to?
Low.
12, 13. That's really low. And so how can anybody stay healthy in that? And so that's why it's very important to get out in nature. If you live in the city, you got to get out of the city there twice a week. You got to go exercise. You have to increase your oxygenation to be able to increase. And oxygenation goes hand in hand with flow, conductivity, mineralization, liquids. It all fits in. See, dental, same thing. If you have mercury fillings and you're swallowing mercury vapor, you think happens to your good bacteria in your belly. And that's the second brain. The first brain's between your legs, and you can always say, if you're a woman, you can always say, you're thinking with the little brain again, brother. Okay? Don't be thinking with that little thing between your legs. That's the little brain. That's the first brain. Second brain's the gut. Third brain is the heart. Remember, the brain that we call the brain is just a radio receiver activated by the other chakras or energy centers or the other brains that tell that radio receiver like switching stations. So if you're in survival, what do you think your mind thinks of? Food? No. If you're in in this other layer, sexuality, what do you think your mind thinks of again? Mathematics? Or trying to think of paying the rent? No. And if it's in the open heart, these are energy centers. So everything, like I said, all works together. The sun is so important, but in order to be able to get the sun to make it healthy, you have to clean the skin. And we've got different protocols for people to not only clean their skin, but to feed their body transdermally through their skin. 13, cellular alkalinity. Very important. And if you go back to the other terrain modification numbers, you'll notice that cellular alkalinity has to do with pretty much everything we just talked about already, because it's all a combination of a lot of things. Number 14, plastics. We have to learn not to store anything in plastic. If you want to store neutral water in plastic, that's fine. But anything that's going to have any change other than a pH of 7, you're taking a chance of leaching, of weird chemicals, bisphenol A /cancer /Canadian, they've taken it out of the, you can just Google any of this stuff. Why has Canada made this so it's illegal to use? And they still put it in all the baby bottles. All these women, they're given sometimes their children because they don't want to breastfeed, whatever it is, they don't have the time. Or if they are breastfeeding, they're usually using a pump, and then they freeze the milk in what? A plastic bag. You won't tell you what type. It's got to be food grade, not those junky ones that you buy at the store. They leach, and if you would know what they leach, all you have to do is Google it or pick it up, or open it up and smell it. And if it smells like a little bit of plastic, it's leaching. It's got off gas. And so a lot of people then use plastic bottles instead of glass bottles, and they heat the milk up in water. And the plastic gets shoved in. Those little nipples, what are they made out of? Some of them are made out of a surgical rubber, and some of them are made out of this really low budget, and these kids are chewing on this stuff like all of a sudden it's like, Anyway, that's why a lot of children, when you see, they're overweight and they're plugged. When people are fat, that's not a good way to say it. You're plugged, clogged. That's better than saying fat. They're clogged. So number 15 is pharmaceuticals. 40% of the people over 20 are on some form of pharmaceutical. Whoa. Huh. And that's when they're taking, and it's actually even higher than that. People that are taking pharmaceuticals for 2 or 3, 4 weeks at a time, from antibiotics to even going to, a mom went ahead and sent me a letter the other day, and she says her son, she caught him, he was sleeping on the couch at 10 o'clock at night, and he's drinking cough syrup, smoking weed, and drinking beers. And she says, what can I do with these? Look at the children, how they want to change their vibration in their brain. And look at the things that they're doing, which is pretty assaultive. Okay, cough syrup has codeine in it. You wonder why they're taking it. 16, pH of the skin, tissue, and glands. Very important. That's why we clean the skin. So the internal junk that's in the lymph system can pass through the thousands and thousands of pores. Each pore has 4 feet of glands, or 4 feet of tube to be able to let it out. And this is where the hair mites live. This is where a lot of weird, so when you clean your skin with the skin cleaning protocol, you go, damn, I feel clean. Of course you'd have just wiped off not millions, not billions, but trillions of surface microbes. I call them the extraterrestrial aliens that live on our skin. And of course we have intraterrestrial aliens that live in our bodies. But the extraterrestrials, okay, that's when you go out in the sun and you get burnt, you're not burning. It's what lives on your skin is. Once you clean your skin, you put magnesium and you put silica and you put some coconut oil and really rub it in. Then you go out in the sun. You'll get red, but you won't burn. It's what lives on your skin burns. Heavy metals, poisons. Remember, that's the reason why that most people get sick, tired, and they get infiltration of parasites. It's because the heavy metals, poisons, and the plugging. 19, gut wall bacteria, intestines, and gut wall bacteria, intestines, colon. this is, like I said, this is one of the most important things that we have to change our whole internal self, because the gut wall bacteria are so powerful that they're the ones that tell us to eat what we eat. And everybody needs to get a tongue scraper. Do you guys have tongue scrapers?
I use a spoon.
No, get a tongue scraper, like the ones from Dr. Tongue's. They're only like $5 on our Earthshift Products website. You can go to the health food store, like $7. One of the most important things before you eat, anytime before you eat, scrape off the connection from the gut wall bacteria that live in your stomach, but send out a vibration and a connection to your tongue, because that's how they get you to taste. What tastes good is maybe not what you think that tastes good, but it is a manipulation in your gut wall bacteria that says, eat it. That's our food. So you scrape off that connection. I call it GAC. And the GAC is this weird stuff. And as soon as you get up in the morning, use it. And you'll notice when you use the tongue scraper, you're going to get this weird stuff that comes off your mouth, off your tongue, and you use it, and you go back as far as you can on the back of your tongue. And as soon as you do, all of a sudden you go, wow, I can taste now. So that's one of the things when people stop smoking cigarettes, they go, honey, your food really tastes really salty and not so good, but it tasted really good when I was smoking. Well, it's because now you're starting to taste, and she's still smoking. She didn't stop smoking, so she's flavoring it depending on what she can taste and what she can't. Anyways, let's go for number 20 is sleep for regeneration. If you're not regenerating, it's only because most likely you're not getting enough rest, grounded rest. You have to ground yourself as you sleep too. Number 21, skin cleaning and gouaching. That's a whole segment in itself. Lots of videos on it. Number 22, acid reduction massage, lymph drainage, yoga, stretching, active exercise, and also passive exercise, which would be passive would be stretching and relaxing and meditating and breathing, but also active. I find out a lot of people that are trying to repair themselves, they're not doing the active exercise. You have to retrain your nerves from the old pathways that they used to be, lazy. You have to make them more active. Even if you have to push yourself, they will regrow to make it so what you're doing today, if you don't like it after 20 times, you just trained yourself to like it. Number 23, the emotional body reconstruction. This is the reason being why number 24 is called chi breathing, regenerative techniques. Emotional body is 80% of your energy body, and in order to be able to, once you get all these parasites, they control the emotional body. So to let go a lot of that, like sort of like that valve of steam, you have to do the exercise, and the way you get rid of it is by chi breathing. You breathe through your nose as you exercise. Never break the vacuum. It's not breathe in through your nose and let it out through your mouth. That's just regular exercise. You breathe in through your nose and you let it out through your nose, and what you're doing is you're taking the different areas of your body and making them all work together in an equanimable, harmonic way. The brains, the lungs, and the hearts all have sine waves. Everything follows the sun. The sun has a 22.4-year sine waves, 11.2 one-way in-breath, 11.2 out-breath. So number 25 is in-breath and out-breath energy. These are more advanced. That's why I've added these here. But this all makes sense. You want to regenerate yourselves, guys? No one's going to do it for you. You can't take a pill. You have to do it yourself. And your nervous system is what is the part that's going to regenerate. So this is important for people to understand. Every cell inside the body, 100 trillion cells, and we may have billions and billions cubed of microbes inside us. Some good, some bad. But the only way to be able to tell the cell or the cell for it to get the correct information is to have the nervous system tell it what to converge itself into. Remember, all the cells are the same cell. They're all exactly the same. After the fourth and fifth division, they start to change to what the electrical profile or the architectural blueprint, the nervous system tells it what to change to. The heart cell is the same as the gonad cell. The gonad cell is the same as the brain cell. The brain cell is the same as the eye cell. The eye cell is the same as the fingernail cell. Wow. So it's the electrical... it's the electrical profile. So what's important? Keep your nervous system intact. And how do you do that? You have to, and the older you are, the harder it is to do it. That's why I always tell people, it's really easy, guys. I like working with 18 to 33-year-old people. Why? It's because their nervous systems are still somewhat pretty intact. Their emotional bodies aren't filled with drama, and they haven't put themselves into about 500 contracts that basically is really hard to get out of. I don't care if it's car leases, 30-year loans on your house, death do us part, marriages, to leases, to whatever it is. These are all contracts, okay? And those are just physical contracts. And there's a lot of other contracts that you have responsibilities. So the younger you are, the easier it is to be able to not backpedal as much. As long as you're on the program, then all this makes sense. But if you're 40, 50 years old and you're in the standard American diet, a lot of the stuff we're talking about is not really, it's not going to ring a bell. But if you're 18 to 33, this stuff is like priceless information because it connects the dots and makes sense. Okay, so number 25, because remember this is where we're getting into now. In-breath, out-breath energy. Everything follows in-breath, out-breath. Do we breathe in and breathe out? Everything follows this holographic movement. Everything in the galaxy, even the Earth, breathes in and breathes out. When we breathe, our sutures in our brain, the sutures, the coronal sutures, the sagittal sutures, the occipital sutures, the temporal sutures. These are, if you look at the skull, you'll see all these little squiggly lines. Most people's heads or their skulls are solid shut. So I have a technique that we rub in the shower. I told you this last time, that you scrape all these sutures, and you use a little round ball. You can even use like a pool table ball or anything that basically is hard, and you put your head in the shower and you run this ball over the sutures, and you break all this hardness up. Because when you breathe in, your brain has to be able to breathe too. Everything does. Your lungs breathe, everything breathes in. And so your skull, in order for the brain to actually have its fluid pumping, it has to open up. All those sutures have to be able to open. So you breathe in, the sutures of the skull open, and as you breathe out, they close. Minute movement. That's why a lot of different doctors do cranial sacral technique to open up these. A lot of people have headaches. A lot of people feel foggy, dizzy. These are all things. Remember, it's regenerate, self-treatment. So 25 is in-breath, out-breath energy. And that's why it's very important when you do your exercise, you're going to breathe through your nose. In-breath, out-breath. 26 is activation of all chakras or energy centers available. The more energy centers that we can activate on our multidimensional, multifractional machine, I call the Cyborgus Organicus, this organic machine. And we do all own one without a manual. But the more energy centers, the more cylinders, like in a V12 Ferrari. If it's only running on 4 cylinders and you've only known it to run on 4 cylinders, you're not missing a thing. But if you drive your friend's car and you're on full 12 cylinders, you're going to go, damn, I got the same car. What the heck? I want mine to run like yours. Well, then rebuild it and activate the rest of the spark plugs or activate the rest of the cylinders. So the more activation we can get within our machine, the more what we call cessation we have in our lifestyle. We're not stuck in the survival lifestyle. We're not stuck in the sexual. As you notice, some people, that's all that comes out of their brain is sexuality. Some people, it's all that comes into the brain is food. Okay? And those are different energy centers. But once you get up into the heart, that's 8 cycles per second. You get into the throat. You start speaking truth. You're happy. You're just overwhelmed in joy, bliss, and happiness. Why? Because it's coming from the heart. This is like an internal drug. A lot of people do drugs and take certain things is because they've got the lower chakras activated and they like the feelings of the higher energy zones. So just activate your own energy zones, guys, and you've got yourself a pharmaceutical warehouse that your body will manufacture. The best drugs, the best chemicals are made from your brain. Just got to activate them. And there are controlling factors on this planet. There are controlling entities on this planet that don't want you to have this feeling. If you have this feeling, then you'll do good. Sort of weird. Why wouldn't we all want to help each other feel bliss? It's pretty weird. It's because if you and I, if we were the controlling entities that were controlling all these 7 billion people, if they're in bliss, that means that most likely they're all going to work together. They're all most likely going to help each other. They're all most likely going to go ahead and actually feel each other. Because if you don't have the heart activated, you can't feel anything but yourself. But if you have that activated and further, you'll notice that you see that you're a part of the web. Animals, whales, snails, birds, bees, they're all part of this web of life. And it's really hard to kill anything or hurt anything once you have these activated. I used to be, like I said, a hunter before. I have a mile of death behind me from the hunting and fishing and every weekend, doing what, was supposed to be cool to do, was go out and hunt. And so now, I take care of animals. I mean, I just look at the wonder of all these entities that basically are all conscious, and they're all having I guess you can call it sojourn, just like we are. And the more we see into their sojourn, the more we learn from, as Victor Schauberger said, to understand nature, all you have to do is just watch it, and you'll understand yourself more than any school or any book will ever teach you. So, number 27, the last one we have, is inscension. A lot of people talk about ascension. You've all heard that. What is inscension? Okay,
going in. So in order to have ascension, you have to know thyself. Know, se siauto, to know thyself in Greek. So inscension is essential, and that's what terrain modification is about. To clean up the internal self so the external self now can flower. We're all flowers. Sometimes we think we're weeds because we haven't seen the flower yet. It's, as they say, the lily that crawls through the mud never knows it's a lily until it breaks through the mud, hits a little sunshine, and says, damn, look at the flower I got. Whoa. Okay, so once we flower, then we go back into the mud, back into the matrix, and we share with people, guys, you're all flowers. You're not weeds. Okay, come on. We're here to help each other grow. The ultimate career on this planet, the ultimate career is to help others evolve. Evolution is the game. We all have to play 5 worlds. We have to worry about our ego, our me-go, and that will never die. And in fact, that's actually good. A lot of people say you need to lose your ego. Guys, your ego is going to protect you. You just have to keep it under control. The ego will never die. It's the lowest man or woman on the totem pole of yourself. And some people basically will never know anything more than that anyways. And then we go to the we-go. It's another energy center. You start getting up into the heart. The we-go. From the me-go, I'm the only one that's going, to the me-go, to once you get up into the throat chakra, it's the all of us go. And once you get into the crown chakra, you see, wow. It's like sort of like being at a stoplight, and you see a lantern with the green, the yellow, and the red light.
Okay, you got all these lights, all these energy centers that you can actually go in as you choose, because now you're playing the full 108 keys of the piano, the multiple octaves of the piano, instead of getting stuck with one hand playing Mary Had a Little Lamb on one octave. So I play the piano. I did, a couple of different videos for people to be able to see. Dr. Robert Cassar, The Color of Music. I've done a few other ones too, just to be able to show you you're just a harmonic. And the more octaves that you can play in, the more you will feel satisfied with yourself, and the more that you will have fun by helping others that want to help themselves. You can't help anybody that doesn't want. You can't lead that. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make that horse drink unless it wants to. So now I'm going to let you guys talk for a little bit. Sorry about that. I talk too much, I know.
No, don't apologize. It's fascinating. I'm really glad you did a wrap-up of all 27 of these. I know for me it really anchored in all of them. And, Clementine, I know you weren't here last week, so I'm glad you got to hear these a few in between there.
Yeah. I've been taking notes here.
Yeah,
well, and I listened to the other show.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, it's very important for us, just so we know what we're up against. Remember, a lot of people say, I don't want to know about parasites. No, that's your parasites inside manipulating you, because number one thing on your list is to know. It's like going to school, or you're going into Vietnam, or you're going into World War II. You got to know what you're getting into, guys, before you go ahead and volunteer to fight in the war. Really. Every volunteer you ask that actually volunteered for any war, once they get there, they go, I didn't volunteer for this. I didn't volunteer for this. I thought it was cool. I was going to go see the world. Yeah, you didn't know you were going to be treated like a grunt. You didn't know you were going to go ahead and be beat down and given 25 vaccinations. You didn't know you were going to be taking your emotional body away, so you will listen to us. And when I say jump, you don't think about it. You just do it. See, that's what these parasites do. They are seamless. That's one of the things I wanted to if you guys want to talk about this. Remember, this has been for 25 years. This has been my day job. It's a weird thing. This is just like part of me. And people say, you get off on talking about parasites. It's because they are so elitist to us if we don't know about them. And elitist means that they are very intelligent. They hook into our hard drive, and how do you think a 50 or 60-year-old man plays around with these 10-year-old little girls and boys? Because the giant schistosoma is very strong inside that person. These are parasitic movements. Anybody would never take advantage of a child. And if someone did that to your child, I would get to be able to see the worst come out of you to go ahead and punish that person if they did that to your child, wouldn't you? Something would just snap inside you saying, man, you need punishment, brother. Why would you do that to that child? It's because they didn't. Everybody should listen to Eckhart Tolle. Some people say, oh, that guy's crazy. Guys, he's an interdimensional being. Okay? He's woken up to the fact that there are many layers of the self that don't believe anything he says, but just listen to some of the expansion of the areas that would be very smart, like the pain body. Chapter 6 of the pain body. That's a good chapter to listen to 4 or 5 times, and just take away the pain body, that word, and exchange it for the parasite body. Okay? I don't need to rewrite that chapter for him. All you have to do is change one word, and all of a sudden it's another layer, guys. And once you can feel, once you see and observe these parasitic elitists that hardwire into our nervous system seamlessly and control our emotions, control our thoughts, control our feelings. Wow. It's like Stephen King. And guys, let's go ahead and write a good script on a horror movie that everybody's got inside them. So we don't fight these children that are our children. We terrain modify them very nicely with love. You just change your profile of energy, flow, conductivity, mineralization, and so forth, and it's going to take no less. First phase is 180 days. You do it as you wish, a little bit at a time, but there are definitely some advantages to be able to have friends to do this with. You don't want to do it yourself. That's why I always tell people, guys, join Earthshift Project. It's free. Got thousands of people all around the world that are doing this crazy terrain modification, and listen to their testimonies. Look at how they've changed massively. And then, of course, I'm like I said, I'm at the 13th grade right now. I'm a freshman in college, and I feel really weak where I'm at because I'm in a whole new layer of school. But I did graduate 12th grade, 11th grade, 10th, and 9th and 8th and 7th. And I don't really like to talk to people in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th, or 6th grade because they're not ready yet for this. But if you're in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, we can help you jump up a grade or two very quickly to come up and help us in college. We're just students up here, and this layer of information, once you get into college, the next layer of triality consciousness is for us to work together. This is where you jump up out of high school and junior high, and you come to this non-duality school, and you come in and we all work together and design and help the other layers. They're not the lower layers, they're just other grade schools. You don't talk down to a 3rd grader because they're playing dodgeball. You used to play dodgeball too, and it was fun. Okay, but 12th graders and 3rd graders, they're just different in different grades. So that's why I always say, in order for us to really grow now, this new year is the year of 2014. And this year, like we talked about in the other radio shows, this year, one word is the most powerful word of this year. Do you remember what it is? It's the year of discretion. Discretion. We are all spending our time doing something, but what are you going to focus your energy on this year? You're going to go in circles again? You're going to go out and waste your time, or you're going to put it towards evolution? Are you going to put it towards something that would not only help you, but would also stimulate others, as they say, as you grow, others grow with you, and as they grow, you grow too. Wow, it's a good deal.
Yeah, beautiful.
One of the things I would like people to, I have several, because how much time can you really put into terrain modification? And because people ask me, this is like, I'm already busy. Guys, this is a lifestyle. This isn't something you're going to do for a week or a month. This is...
Right, you're putting time into it anyway.
Yeah, you're optimizing yourself. You're optimizing, exactly. Like I said, even if you're from the standard American diet, guys, this is for everybody. It's not for hippies. It's not for athletes. It's not for... No, it's for everybody. So, learn from this information. Take what you can out of it. Watch the videos that we've put together. And we do have a little... it's not open to the public, private school. It's a student school where we share a lot of this information for people to help themselves treat themselves. It's a self-treatment. Remember, nobody can do this for you. Nobody. And if there's somebody's trying to help you, then that's fine. But remember, there's no handouts here. It's help ups. You got to do the work. And it's very important for people to understand that, because they're saying, man, you got so much information. No, guys, this is like 30 years of really understanding. Remember, the body is unknowable. All we can do, and it's self-organizational. It fixes itself. I'm not a guru. You're not a guru. We're gurus of ourselves. Guru. Do you know what the guru means in Sanskrit? The gu means to study the dark. Don't buy into it. Gu. The guru means to study the light. Master the light. So the guru studies and masters the dark and studies and masters the light so it can become more conscious. And it's not because you just, some of these people are, I call them namasters. They go to one side of the fence. They don't want to go ahead and look at any of the other side. Guys, you have to learn both sides. It's a school here. In order for us to be able to be more complete, you can't miss a few grade schools. You got to learn both sides of the fence so we can become conscious enough to make a decision on where we want to be. So we're not being pushed into this side. We're not being pushed, and we won't just study one religion. Study them all. They all have some nectar, some gold pieces in them. A lot of dogma in all of them, too, but there's some gold pieces there. It's the parables we need to learn from the religions, not the personifications. I don't want to get in trouble here, but, a lot of people, they sort of get lost in some of these sort of these little categories of it's like a revolving door you can't get out, or a hamster wheel. We're here to grow. So study the dark, don't buy into it. Study the light, don't buy into it. Remember, the dark has all the secrets, but the light has all the power. What a good combination. To study the secrets and to have the power to share the truth. So this is this sort of idea, and the only way that we can be able to really see a lot of this stuff is to hear from others that have shed some of these layers. Like I said, I'm a freshman in college. Don't believe a word I have to say, but I do see into the other layers, and I feel that I can help some people. And not only that, you can't help anybody unless, like I said, they want to help themselves. But the number one reason to all of these shows that we've just done is to manipulate nicely the parasitic microbial loads that we've all accumulated. And that's not just physical, but they're also ethereal. These are psychic parasites too. And as we gain our power, take back your power. I've written a few things on this. Take back your power is only done when you do it yourself. You can't buy it. One of my friends, his name's Manny, a little short story here. He says, Robert, it's one of my dad's very good friends. He says, I have $180 million in the bank. He says, I'm bloody sick right now. Doctors say I'm going to die. I can't buy my health. I can't believe that. I've bought everything. I can't buy another day in my health. And I can't take it with me. So remember, don't get stuck. A lot of people get stuck in this world trying to gain a layer of wealth or money, because in time they're going to lose their health and they're going to have to use all their money to try and gain some of that health back. So it's all a balance. So let's try to work together and figure out how we can actually grow each of ourselves, not just our own self. That would be greedy. That would be duality. Once you put your mask on, what do you do in the plane that's going down? You help your children, or you help the next door neighbor put their mask on too. So this, just to go over, even if you guys want to, we talked about doing a, 3-part series. I'm open to doing more series with you. There's a lot more since we've gone over. This is sort of like the curriculum, and we can keep going deeper and deeper into this if you guys want to too. I'm open to anything you guys want to do.
Definitely parts of the terrain modification I'd love to go deeper into. There's a lot.
The philosophy is the most important part, because what it does is it makes people hungry to say, what do I do? Once they get it, it's like, okay, I get it now. at least a little bit of it. So versus trying to show people what to do, and they don't have the philosophy. And it's like, why aren't you doing it now? It's because you don't have the philosophy yet to know why. Once you know why, then the next layer of the mind says, well, okay, what do I do? I don't even have to tell people. I don't have to push them into anything. Before, see, I used to push people into things. Now we're a little smarter. We don't push the people that want to still play dodgeball. Let them keep drinking colas, eating fake food, having all these chemicals that are hidden inside their food, because that food, once you're on it, remember the microbes have to break down all that poison. They have to break down all those. And there are companies out there. Okay, just so we can, sort of throw this in there. There are companies out there that are very smart, and they put certain types of microbes in the food that will break down that food that you're eating. And what you're doing is you're resurrecting a whole set of creatures that only process that food. So what kind of business is that? It's pretty intelligent. And these microbes, remember, tell you are what you eat, drink, think, sleep, and do. So if there are some very genius systems here, remember, a lot of the people that you see, why would anybody do what they do? Maybe because they're not like us. Maybe because there's other entities on this planet that actually manipulate us and feed off us certain ways. So we have to be smart enough not to go ahead and fall down the yellow brick road. We're here to go up the yellow brick road. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. We all carnate on this planet when we're little babies. We're all this color green. We're neutral. We're 7.2 to 7.3 pH everywhere in our cells, every cell. And we can either start to manipulate these cells to be more conductive, or, as our mothers and fathers sometimes don't know, remember, ignorance is bliss, they poison us in a multitude of ways, from vaccines, from wheat, corn, and soy. Don't have the mother's milk, use the soy. Remember, in the doctors, once you get sick, don't expect yourself to make decisions based on the sanity that it has at this time. Because once you get sick, your system goes into fear-mongering. And the doctors, they will give you what they know best, is cut, burn, and poison. They just did this to my family. And there's nothing to say. They will manipulate, and they've done this to a few of my friends just in the last 2 weeks. It's like, why are you guys what are you doing this radiation therapy for? It's because the doctor scared the hell out of me. Okay, said if I didn't do this, most likely that I would die. Wow. Okay, so let's manipulate our terrain before the parasitic entities do what they do. Hostile takeover. Hostile takeover, just like a business. Our body is a machine, and let's learn how to take care of it. Yeah, let's do some other, be nice to do some other shows. You guys are really nice to be able to let me do this with you, so thank you again.
Yeah, we appreciate your time and energy, and that's a great segue into something I want to share with our audience that's happening this weekend. You were talking about cancer and using terrain modification rather than allopathic medicine, which of course there's a balance that needs to be struck between the two. But going on this weekend is the Cure to Cancer Summit, and Clementine and I will both be there. It's happening April 25th to the 27th in San Diego, and Nathan Crane, one of our producers for Our Living Expo, is bringing together 18 of the world's leading experts on alternative and integrated solutions to cancer, and it's quite a meeting of the minds. There's going to be all kinds of amazing information shared. So, if you are suffering from cancer, just curious, you have family members that are dealing with the disease, there is really cutting-edge information being shared this weekend. So you go to
nice.
theCuretocancersummit.com. You get all the information. It's in San Diego, and I'm excited.
And also the CureToCancerConference.com as well.
The whole idea is don't let yourself get into that energy bracket. Remember, could cancer, quotes, be a parasite? Then it sheds a lot of light. If it's a parasite, then it feeds and eats and lives in a terrain. Remember, parasites, if we take away that name and go back to cancer, it's a mystery. But if you say this disease is parasitically driven, then you'll go, damn, that makes more sense than what is cancer. And cancer, remember, is a trademark. That's why if you can't say the word cure as a doctor in the state of California and many other states, because it's a felony. You can say spontaneous regeneration. See, this is the reason being why we need to all be smart here. Once you get sick, once your transmission falls out on your car on the freeway, you be in big trouble. Okay, so let's try to work with the groups that are sick. That's great. Guys, the Terrain Modification, remember, is going to help you, but you're going to have to make decisions because the guy with the white jacket, the girl with the white jacket, and your family and everybody else, they're going to want you to do, and this is what people have to look at, too. See, we used to work in the hospital in the cancer. All they tell the patients is the 2-year life versus death rate, they call it. Okay, 2-year of, let's say you do this chemo and you do the such and such, cut, burn, and poison, whatever. Okay, you take the chemicals, you take the medications, and they do help certain instances. They only show you 2 years. You have to look at the 5-year profile on those patients, and most of them, 80% of them are gone. Okay, so they'll show you the 2-year profile. Oh, they're still living, see, in 2 years. But after that, they fall off and start dropping like flies. And you notice when you go to these doctors in different places, they don't tell you one thing, not even detox sauna, not even the juicing, not even barometric chambers, not even anything. I mean, I went to when my mom had breast cancer, and I was talking to the head oncologist there, and this is at one of the most prestigious. We have VIP insurance, and we're not talking to the busy doctors. These are the ones that are supposed to be the best of the best of the best at UCLA, let's say, or Stanford. Different, they're the ones that take care of the ones that have better insurance because they're more. That's what they do, and they don't have one thing in their department that would help them in any form and fashion to anything that we've talked about here, terrain modification. I don't care if it's oxygenation. I don't care if it's mineralization. They're feeding them wheat, corn, and soy, and I'm looking at the diet you're feeding these people. What are you doing? So once you get into this web, it's a hard web to get out of, is what I'm saying. So my mom, she didn't pass away because of the disease they said she had. She got an iatrogenic. Iatrogenic means hospital-caused disease. Once you're in, you may not come out. So, let's be, that very smart not to get to that. And that cancer symposium that you're doing is beautiful for people. It's just the whole idea is not to get there. Because once you get there, wow. That's very hard. The emotional body takes 80% of the energy up, and if the emotional body has been assaulted, it means that someone's told you're going to die, or just you got this sickness, okay, the sickness, then a lot of times your emotional body, 80% of your energy grid, will actually increase the disease because this parasite lives in a low vibration and low frequency, and doubt, uncertainty, frustration, anger, and just feeling of hopelessness. Those are low vibrations versus bliss, joy, happiness, and love. Those are high vibration, as we know. So, okay, there we go. I know we're going in extra overtime now.
Well, thank you so much. This has been fascinating as usual.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. Anything else you want to add, Clementine, before we
No, I just feel like I learned a lot. I took a lot of notes, and I have a lot to consider and to kind of integrate and, which steps to take next. I definitely want to do the skin cleanse and, continually working on the digestion and
you got to take probiotics too. Remember the gut wall bacteria don't just come. Remember, that's why I'm doing all these fermenting videos. Watch my videos on fermentation. You put probiotic bacteria. You don't just make sauerkraut like the old style. No, we make fermented veggies, super veggies, broccoli, tomatoes, purple onions. Remember, no white onions, green onions, or garlic. Cut all that out of your system. And any vegetable that you have that's sort of going south in your refrigerator, purple cabbage, green cabbage, zucchini, broccoli, anything, daikon roots, and put it all in. I put brown seaweed extract, so I get my iodine in, and I put in the key is kombucha. I put in the kombucha to make it so I get these strains of bacteria that are going to help my internal gut wall bacteria, and I put in a couple of probiotic, like 150 billion strong, 35, 40 strains in the fermentation. You put it in, I make 3 jars at a time, and you just seal them up really good, burp it every day, because I've had a couple of my jars break. They get too much pressure. Oh, shoot. And this is when you're hungry, this is what you eat. Remember, if you're hungry, most likely you're thirsty too. Drink 20 ounces of mineralized water, then wait 5 minutes and see again how hungry you are. And if you are, then have some fermented veggies. Stay away from sugar, and if you want to use the fermented veggie brine, you never throw it out. You can mix it with fruit. You don't have to just use veggies. I'm making some ones right now that I'm showing people you do combination fruit and vegetable sauerkraut. And it's like, this is how we re-establish our gut wall bacteria. And remember, once you clean up your gut wall bacteria, because this is one of the most important things, you don't assault it again with wheat, corn, or soy. And make sure to get out the mercury fillings. A lot of people have mercury fillings. They're swallowing mercury, and all they're doing is just killing their good bacteria again, because the mercury goes down there, and what do you think it does to the good bacteria? It says, play.
Right. And so, Dr. Cassar, like everybody... Oh, yes. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask Dr. Cassar where everybody can see these videos. I know you've got a YouTube channel.
Yeah, the YouTube channel, a good one to go to is Earthshift Project YouTube. Subscribe to that. And also, I'm going to have a lot of videos that I already have put on our eartheracademy.com, and that's super cheap for people to join, and they get all their money back anyways, just in credits. But this is information that I can't put on YouTube because it's just too sensitive. And the last thing I want to do is get a lot of drag from companies. That, remember, there is a system here. Remember, we don't want to really talk about this, but there's 7 billion people on this planet. And most of us really fall into the category of being barbaric. And that's just consciousness. So our job is to, as Albert Einstein says, you want to change this planet, you can't give the Earth humans technology that their minds can't handle. We let this planet get into the layer that it's in, and the only thing to change is the consciousness to get it out. That's our job. So the body's the key to the temple. That's the mind. And so we're not just the body, but the body does activate the mind so we can open up the shutters and let the light into the mind. It makes it sort of simple once you get there. Or at least, like I said, once you start, we're all growing. You can never stop growing. It's an infinite system.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Cassar. I look forward, I'm sure Clementine, you do as well, to further adventures with you on the radio. This has been really wonderful. I'm very grateful to you.
Absolutely.
I love you all. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week on the radio.
All right, beautiful. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Bye-bye.
Important reminder. All information and ideas are for informational purposes only and are in no way intended as medical advice or as a substitute for medical counseling. Earthshift Products, Dr. Robert Cassar, all of their partners, affiliates, and subsidiaries will not be held accountable for the use or misuse of the information presented therein. This information is not intended as medical advice. The authors, publishers, and speakers of this work are not medical doctors and do not recommend the use of mineral-deficient foods, drugs, or medicines to achieve beauty and to alleviate health challenges. Because there is always some risk involved, all persons involved with the development and distribution of this information are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences of any kind resulting from the use or misuse of any suggestions or procedures described on our website or Earthshift Live radio talk show or therein.